Hey guys, it's Mickey Klon again. How y'all doing? It's been about 2 weeks or so since my last video. Sorry for the delay. I've been traveling with Tom Numbers and it's been a blast. We actually were in Vegas last weekend for the For God and Country conference. What an amazing event. I mean, biblical. That's all I can say. It was biblical. They definitely doubled down, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so I'm back now, and I'm being told to send this message today because it's really, really important that you realize it's like a huge tipping point. Everyone is being moved into position. So about 4 months back, I had made a video about how I had a vision or a visualization. I don't call them visions usually, visualization when I was meditating, that Jesus brought me this golden ladder. And I had gone up the ladder. And when I got to the top, which took me some time, right? It took me a little while. I was looking and pondering this ladder for some time. But I realized that once I went up it and I finally was brave enough to do so, I was in sort of a whole new realm. And in that realm, I could see God moving his pieces, and you are his pieces, right? It said that the army of Q is 70% military, 30% civilian, and less than 10. And so we are those civilians, guys. We are that infiltration from within. We are the army of the 144,000. You are part of that army, and you are receiving messages at all times at this point on what to do and how to do it. And so it's one of those things where we all made a contract, a soul contract, to come here and to be completely present in this moment in time, the greatest time in human history. And, God will only move you in the way that you most naturally move. Okay. So I want you to start trusting your intuition. And every time you get an inclination that, oh, maybe I should help so-and-so, or oh, maybe I should, make a quick video, there's so many different ways based on your personality type, based on where you live and where you're in position right now on the earth plane, based on the people that you know, based on what you're drawn to. Trust your instinct. That is your spirit guide. That's your higher self. That's your antenna. Your intuition is going to always guide you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an analogy, and then I'm going to tell you some of the things I'm applying right now. So the goal right now, and yes, we are in a state of war, but the goal right now is to find a 0 point at all times. That means total surrender, total, awareness of the fact that you're exactly where you're meant to be, and you're moving at exactly the pace you're supposed to move at, right? So you're not living in the superiority complex of your ego. You're not actually living in your ego at all. You're not living in an inferiority complex. You're not rushing. You're not backpedaling, right? You're in this perfect state of flow where constant messages can come through you. And sometimes it might feel like it's getting too fast. So you just take a break and you go meditate. So from a visual, what I do is I imagine myself on a raft in a large river. And the river is the flow of the universe. That's always moving. There's no stopping it. The universe is always cheering you on. It's always going to support you. Okay. Your body on the raft is your spirit or your soul or your higher self, whatever you want to call it. It's you. It's your essence of you. It's the soul that's come down into this planet. It's made its contract. It's ready to go. Right. The oar is the mind. So wherever you direct the oar is where you go on the river. Right. The mind is the director. And so at some point, we're getting to the point where we just hand over the oar to God. But right now, you got to know that you can direct that. And so the goal at all times, oh, and the raft is the body, right? So the raft is the vessel. So you got the vessel. Whoa, sorry. Okay, so you have the vessel, which is the body. The person on top, or you, is your soul. The oar is your mind, and the current is all things universal, right? That's the flow of the universe. That is God. That is the collective consciousness. That is the universe supporting you, right? The goal is to get to the point where your arms are back behind you and you are just enjoying the view, right? That's the goal. You don't want to be paddling forward. You don't want to be paddling backwards, because that's just wasted energy. The current's going to take you. You don't have to speed things up. You don't have to slow things down. You don't really want to get in eddies, although sometimes detours are nice. If you get in an eddy, you just have to realize it and know, okay, this is not worth my time, and kind of paddle your way back into the middle of the river where you've got the most effortless flow. Other times you might have a detour, like you'll find forks in the road. That's okay, or in the river. That's okay. Those detours are very necessary. Sometimes you're meant to meet someone in that detour. So take those and, embrace them, and then just feel your way getting back on track. Okay. So, so that's 0 point. 0 point is if I can't do it effortlessly and it doesn't align with my soul and I don't have, it doesn't resonate with me, then I'm not going to do it. Okay. And so if you have someone pulling you back like a tugboat, like let's say your raft is here, but you're tethered and you have a loved one that's really trying to yank you back to avoid what's coming, or maybe they don't even want to be on the river at all. They're not really in a state where they want to listen to the collective consciousness or listen to their higher guides or their higher self. Maybe they're literally on the shoreline and they're yanking you back. Sorry, guys, but at this point, you kind of have to cut some ties. You just have to cut the line. You can tell them, you can declare it. You can say, I understand this journey is not for you right now. I will be back. I love you, but I've got to take space. Stop trying to convince them. Stop trying to tell, because they're on their own journey, right? It's their own soul contract. So it's not up to you to tell anyone. It's up to you to give them informed consent, right? Whether that's about a thing, or whether that's about wearing this thing or whatever. Just give them informed consent and let them know what you declare. You declare pure sovereignty, okay? And you can declare it to your soul and to your angels and to the collective at any time. You could declare it to your children. You could declare it to your parents. It doesn't matter. You are now standing in your sovereignty. You're actually laying on the raft and enjoying the view. Don't ever forget to find the joy. The view is going to change. That's the only thing guaranteed in this world is change. So it's going to get better and better and better. And Trump even said, you're just going to keep winning and winning and winning. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few examples of messages that I get each morning and what I'm being told to do. Among many, many things, one of the things I'm being told to do is actually inspire and empower and enable my children to stand in their sovereignty. So they have been forced to wear masks for about the last year and a half, and I've absolutely had it. And I'm also being told to raise an army to fight this war for the schools. So stay tuned for that. But, and that's my way, right? Because I have some new connections now where I can do that. Now, you might not be in that position, but what I am also doing is I've started to plant the seeds with my kids to just take the mask off when they feel brave. Okay. I don't care if the teacher tells you to put it back on, but just take the mask off if you feel brave, and just consider the fact that you're sending a message. You're sending a message to the universe. You're showing your friends you're not scared and that you're not going to live in fear and that you don't believe in it. Okay. And so my son, he started to just take it off, and he found out that certain teachers aren't going to enforce it. So now he knows exactly which teachers are awake. He knows exactly which ones of his friends are with him. Then the other day at school, one of the boys showed up and they weren't wearing a mask. And apparently their parents had figured out how to get him an exemption. And so one of the teachers literally called out the boy and said, "Good job." Now that is an immediate message to the little boy that you're doing the right thing. That is the feedback loop. So as you're riding your raft, you're going to start getting feedback. That's the universe telling you, good job. Pay attention to that feedback loop. It may be very subtle, but it will feel really good. And it will validate that you're listening to the collective, that you're following, that you're joining the army of the 144 and you're doing your work, right? You're doing God's work. This is the choice. This is the call. Okay. So my son comes home and he's like, "I want one of those." I'm like, you're going to do it. I love it. And so right away we had him contact all the kids. He's sort of building an army. We'll contact all the parents of all the kids that are awake. And we'll make sure that my son has that, same pass. And so now he's going to go to school with us. So he's in 8th grade. There's 8th, 7th, and 6th grade in our middle school. My daughter's in 6th grade. Now she's terrified because all of her friends are really, really adamant about the masks. But my son, he's going to lead the way as an 8th grader. And he knows he's actually a natural born leader. So he's stepping into his role. Now, the other kids might not be leaders, so they can just be there to support him, like a nod, a nudge, anything like that. And if kids have this radar, they know. So I rewarded my son. He's been begging for a new computer for some time. I'm going to go ahead and buy him a new computer. I'm going to reward him for standing in his sovereignty, and I'm declaring it for him. And I'm telling him why he earned this reward. He did this on his own. He brought it to me, and now he's getting a very clear reward for it. My daughter, on the same hand, I kind of want her to fight on the battleground, but she'd really like to homeschool. So we're going to go ahead and give her that option. But she has to be brave enough to go a whole week without a mask. Now, the 8th graders are going to set the tone. But I told her, this is the key. This is the threshold. You have the key to get out of the prison. And she does come home and call it. She literally calls it child abuse. That's what she calls it. You guys, we're about to declare war. This is absolutely ridiculous. I'm so over critical race theory. I am so over the fact that half of her kids, her friends at school think that they're gay because they're confusing these kids so much. And you guys, it's a joke. It's a joke. Okay. I don't know if you have kids. I know this message is becoming about kids, but it's a joke. Okay. The way you know if a child, especially in 6th grade, is actually interested in the other sex is they tend to be intimidated by the other sex. So if your son is truly gay, he'll want to hang out with the girls because the boys are really intimidating to him at this age. Okay. So that's kind of how you know it's not just some pressure. I have no problem with children being gay. I have a problem with them confusing them. They're very young. They're being pressured because it's not cool to be straight and white. This is not okay, guys. We have to educate and empower our kids. So that's what God's telling me to fight right now. All right. He's telling me to raise an army. And I'm telling you, I'm about to make a phone call to Leigh Dundas. I'm about to offer her a job. I was supporting Scott in his tour, telling him he's on the right track. Now I would like to support Leigh and possibly even fund her in possibly going to some of these school board meetings and making a huge scene. And we will publish where she's going to go and what she's going to do next so that we can build an army behind her. And we'll videotape it all. We'll create her a website, a tour site, etc., just like we did for Scott. Just to support the movement, to support them, because that's my level of expertise. I know how to spawn up a website. I know how to build a team behind someone. So I'm going to move and shift a few pieces to make sure that she feels empowered. If, of course, she's interested, and if she's not interested, I might make another video calling out any lawyer or any commander who wants to take charge and get up on stage and maybe even travel. Like I said, I'll cover the travel and go from school board meeting to school board meeting so that we can pre-publish your events and where you're going to be next so that we can send an army of light workers behind you. And like I said, you don't have to be at the school, guys. You just need to go and fight for the kids. You can be, any patriot can show up to these board meetings and fight against this union. Okay, so I think that's most of the message I wanted to share today. But one last thing, I want to share this Bible verse with you because I feel like this is so indicative of this time. So let me share my screen. I'm going to read from Luke chapter 21. Okay, and it's actually, I'm just going to go ahead and start on verse 7. So basically, the disciples were sitting at Mount Olive with Jesus as Jesus is describing the end times. And he said, "Teacher," they asked, "when will these things happen? And what will be the sign that they are about to take place?" He replied, "Watch out that you are not deceived, for many will come in my name, claiming I am he, and the time is near. Do not follow them. When you hear of wars and uprisings, do not be frightened. These things must happen first, but the end will not come right away." Then he said to them, "Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be great earthquakes, famines, and pestilences in various places, and fearful events and great signs from heaven. But before all this, they will seize you. They will persecute you. They will hand you over to the synagogues and put you in prison, and you will be brought before kings and governors, and all on account of my name. And so you will bear testimony to me." That's what Caviezel did this last weekend, and it was anointing, and it was an anointing moment. "But make up your mind not to worry beforehand how you will defend yourselves, for I will give you the words and the wisdom that none of your adversaries will be able to resist or contradict." That's pure truth. The people around you cannot resist or contradict the truth that God is giving you, and that we're able to say. So like I said, when we wake up each morning, use your intuition and follow your intuition, follow his guidance. Let the river take you. Do as you're being commanded by God. Do as you're being commanded by the contract that you've made before you came onto this plane, and start to trust the feedback loop, because the universe will start saying, good job, right? You will be betrayed even by your parents, brothers and sisters, relatives and friends, and they will put some of you to death. Everyone will hate you because of me, but not a hair of your head will perish. Stand firm and you will win life. So I'm just going to leave that message with you guys. I love you so much. I really hope that you are having an amazing ascension, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.